Good evening, everyone. I'm Ronald Tranggono, a grade 11 student from Jakarta Intercultural School. Now, I'm assuming that most of you, if not everyone, got here by car or some other motor vehicle. I mean, did anyone here walk to get here? I mean, myself, I was in a 2-hour car journey, and then I had to walk because the turn was closed or something right outside SCBD over there. So it was a painstaking journey for me. But anyways, most of you got here by car, yeah? And so in order for you to come here, your car needed to generate power to move. And that power comes from the fuel in your car. Because essentially, fuels are chemical substances that store power and release it, that store energy and release it when it burns, generating power. And unless you make up the small minority of Indonesians using an electric vehicle, your car probably runs on diesel or petrol, meaning that they come from fossil fuels extracted from reservoirs dug into the earth. Fossil fuels. But then that leads to the main problem at hand, which is that, surprisingly, as official projections by BP estimate, fossil fuels aren't going to be here for very long, because with the current reservoirs in Indonesia, they're projecting that fossil fuels are going to be depleted before 2040. That's less than 15 years away, meaning that we'd all get to witness this within our lifetimes. I mean, isn't that really concerning? And it's also such a shame because Indonesia is such a rich country filled with vast natural resources. And it really is disheartening for us to hear about this. But fret not, because actually there is a wonderful local solution to this catastrophic problem. And that is biofuels. But what are they? Essentially, a biofuel is a fuel made from living things, and it can be consumed and renewed over and over again, meaning that it is a renewable source of energy. And common biofuel feedstock sources include corn, palm oil, and sugarcane, with palm oil being the largest feedstock source in Indonesia as of this moment. So, okay, now you might be thinking, biofuels are currently being produced in Indonesia, there's a capable enough feedstock, problem solved, right? But then think again, because if that's simply the case, why aren't we all using biofuels? Why aren't we all hearing about them? And why aren't all of our cars running on biofuel-based diesel or petrol? Because the truth is, it's not that simple. The current production process of biofuel in Indonesia just adds extra challenges to an already imminent problem at hand. And this includes, first of all, insufficient feedstock, because there's just simply not enough sugarcane, palm oil, or corn in Indonesia for it to be completely converted into bioethanol or biodiesel. Because they're meant to be consumed, and that in itself is already a thriving industry. And that sparks a massive debate on whether or not they should be considered a fuel source or a food source. And that leads to the second problem, which is that the current production process of biofuel is just not environmentally friendly. Take the burning of palm oil, for example, which emits tens of millions of tons of carbon into the atmosphere every year in Indonesia alone. And plus, it's known to be the leading cause of forest fires in Indonesia. And third, the current biofuel production process is just not cost effective. It's just too expensive for it to be a thriving industry of its own. But I'm speaking here today because biofuels can be useful. They can be popular. And I'm here because I'm saying that we can revitalize, refine, and reinvigorate the current production process to make it useful, which has been the goal and output of my research. But how do we do that? Well, I found out that, first of all, experimental research conducted by the Indonesian National Laboratory, Lemigas, has suggested that there's in fact a native, abundant, fruit-bearing plant currently used for little purposes that can generate large quantities of biofuel. Commonly known as the lontar plant, the skin of its fruits can be converted into bioethanol. And additionally, another study suggests that 53% of the land in South Sulawesi is covered with these lontar palm trees. So yes, it is absolutely abundant. And this is what the fruit of the plant looks like. I have them right outside in my display table if you want to check them out. And only the skin of the fruit needs to be used in order to produce the biofuel. Meanwhile, the inside fruit itself is edible. So that means that the waste skin can still be recycled and utilized to make biofuel. And next, there are chemical substances and enzymes out there that can be adapted solely to suit the production processes of biofuel. Because time and time again have people been able to discover and come up with these new enzymes, chemical substances that are specific to certain chemical reactions. And third, the new era of advanced technology has opened up a field of utilizing machine learning in order to better predict outcomes of production processes and also to simulate chemical reactions taking place without actually needing to use any material. And additionally, it can also be used in the previous step mentioned, that is to come up with these new chemical enzymes that would be useful in the production process. No doubt, a new generation of refined biofuel will certainly be consequential in Indonesia and will certainly provide it with a lot of benefits, including, first of all, carbon emissions in Indonesia will decrease by more than 30 million tons annually, marking a significant step towards reaching the global climate goals. Second, Indonesia can reduce its reliance on importing and extracting fossil fuels, making way for a more sustainable future, meaning that it also wouldn't have to discover as many and dig up as many reservoirs in order to find those fossil fuels. And next, in general, a more refined and enhanced process will reduce production costs. And as a result, more jobs will be created because of this new thriving industry. And Indonesia is the perfect place for this to happen because other than its warm tropical climate allowing for the perfect feedstock to continuously and consistently keep on growing, it already has a large agricultural industry making up 13.7% of the entire nation's GDP. And sure, there may be other alternatives like hydrogen gas, but there isn't any existing infrastructure that supports it, meaning that you'd need to inject more money into the economy. So currently, this is not really a viable alternative to fossil fuels. So all in all of these reasons point toward a great feasibility and need for biofuels in Indonesia. And by speaking here today, I'd like to reiterate that by refining and reinvigorating the current production process, there is certainly a great potential out there to be realized. Thank you.